Aloha guys, what's going on? Another quick edition of ATOR Tutorials. I was just going through some images on my hard drive and I came across a little JPEG image for my D850 and I noticed that this image is pretty cool and it's actually really pretty. I don't know where the raw is on it, but regardless, there's a lot of people, and I think if this was a clean scene with just this pretty wave and a little color correcting and maybe lightening of the shadows over here, it could kind of come to life. So I wanted to walk you through this and see what happens. So I'm going to bring it into Photoshop. I got Photoshop 2020 installed, and right now I'm going to hit F, which is full screen mode, and I got a Wacom tablet and a stylus. So again, F toggles back and forth from full screen mode. I'm going to hit it once so I can go in this working space mode. I'm going to hit Command on a Mac. I'm on a Mac iMac. Hit Command plus, and as you see right now, I got all these people. So I'm going to hit Command J to duplicate a layer and work on a new layer. That would also be Control J on a PC, and I'm going to hit J. So J brings up into my left-hand side this spot healing brush tool. So essentially what it does is sample pixels. So if I go ahead and take this brush, right now I have a soft brush, as you see. Soft, not that big. But what you want to do is zoom in, maybe not that much, but you essentially zoom in and you just kind of, boom, and it kind of goes away. Now there's a little piece over there. Well, let me see. There we go. And it's pretty forgiving most of the time. Now I can go and fine tune this afterwards, but let me get the majority of the big blocks out of here. Now if you see, I'm pressing lightly on the stylus, and then I kind of do a move and see what happens, and then I clean up a little bit. So there we go. I'm going to do the same over here. Essentially what it's doing is just sampling the pixels around the area. And sometimes what I do is I toggle between this, and as you see, as you get closer, it looks kind of crappy over here. So I'm going to hit the S key, and this is going to go to my clone tool. And on my stylus, I have the bottom button of my pen stylus. I have it set to a modifier. So I have it set to the Option key, as you see, so I can source when I'm cloning. So I'm going to hit over here, maybe make this brush a little bit larger, and I'm just going to clean up. Whoop, let me see, redo that. And again, get used to Command Z or Control Z. So I have it set to undo the last step, and that's what you want to do. You kind of want to make a move and just toggle to see if it's any better or not. So this is kind of not that great. Again, let me see. There we go. That's a little better. Nope. It's one of those things too when you're doing this without talking. For some reason it seems to come together a little bit easier. But for now I'm not going to get caught up with this little area. I can fine tune this in a little bit. Like I can go and lower the opacity in my brush to maybe 50%. And maybe do something like that. Now I got this little area over here. But you can't really tell. I mean, when you're zooming out, let me see. There we go. That's blended a little bit better. So if I zoom out all the way, you're never going to see that. But again, I'm just showing you. You do want to zoom in when you're getting rid of some of the stuff. Because right now, like if I zoom back out and I have my brush and I look like, oh, this is perfect. Now watch what happens. When I zoom all the way in, the brush is going to be huge. Well, not huge, but it's bigger than I need actually. So say it's something over here. Maybe just, doop, there we go. Same thing over here. I'm just going to kind of do a real loose selection. And if I don't like it, I hit Command Z to undo it. And again, different pressure sensitivity with the stylus. All of these things, you know, different types of hardnesses of the brush, it will all affect it a little differently. And you just got to play and see what works for you. Like right now, I'm going to use a really, let me see, there we go. See how it blends really nicely? So over here, anything kind of black for me in this image, and like these bright colors, whatever that blue is, there we go. It just is distracting to me. And this image is kind of, it's not an amazing image, but visually it's kind of pretty. So let me see, I'm going to zoom back out. So these guys are the main concern now. So here I'm going to go over here, I'm going to zoom in, and what I'm going to do with this one is hit the L key. This is going to have my lasso tool. I'm going to make a loose selection around it, and then I'm going to hit Command H, and again I'm on Mac, so it would be Control H to hide the pixels, to hide the selection. I'm going to hit Shift F5, and this is going to bring up my fill dialog box. I have this set to content aware. I'm going to hit OK, and voila. Boom, boom, gone. Totally, I'm going to hit Command D then to deselect that, and then I'm going to hit the S key, and I'm going to go and raise my brush opacity back to 70, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit L and make a loose selection around here, Command H, Shift F5, boom. And then right now I'm going to hit Command D to deselect, hit J, which is the spot healing brush tool, and then I'm going to kind of fine tune this little mess that's there and blend it. And voila. Now this is kind of the annoying area, so I'm going to go ahead and hit L again. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to first try the entire thing and see what happens. I got this little jelly bean shape, Command H, Shift F5, make sure content aware is selected, hit OK. Okay, so not bad. So I'm going to hit Command D okay, let me try that again. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect, and then I'm going to try this one more time, and I'm just going to select this little area right here. So I'm going to hit Command H, and when I hide it, I'm not deselecting it, so you guys know. I'm just hiding the marching ant so I can see a little bit more clearly what's going on. Shift F5, OK, boom. Command D, deselect. I'm going to go to the S key, so this is going to bring up my clone tool, and I'm going to blend this a little bit, and voila. So that's that. And I'm still using the clone tool just because I have it, and it's so easy to use, especially with the Wacom stylus. I mean, I can't even imagine working without one of these guys. So to me, that's key to my workflow, is having, I got a Intuos 4 Pro medium. I mean, I've had large, I've had all of these guys, but for me in my workspace right now, the medium works well. Small's a little small, but it actually is nice too. Large if you have the table space and the real estate. And then here, I'm still using the clone tool. And I'm going to just clean up this, use a little lower opacity on my brush. I'm going to do the same thing here. Maybe hit back to 70%. Boom. Now look at that. So we have the cleanup part done. Now look at that. I'm going to expose or hide this layer. And what was that? Maybe 5 minutes. I don't know how long it's been. So I'm going to hit Command J. And now what I'm going to do is work on just getting the color a little bit better on this guy. So what I'm going to do, for me, you can do this a bunch of different ways, but I'm going to go into Filter, and I'm going to go to Camera Raw Filter. So this is going to bring me basically into the Camera Raw dialog box, essentially when you're working on a raw file. But I could still do this even though it's a JPEG, and I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of what's under the hood in this guy, and I'm going to hit the slider and bring the shadows, or open the shadows up a little bit. And maybe, let me see if I hit the vibrant slider. Yeah. What I'm going to do first is just lighten the shadows. Let me see. I'm just going to, there. I'm going to lower the contrast down, and I'm just trying to get this area to look better in the palm trees. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I got my bird being annoying because I'm doing something on the computer. I got a sun conure. So now what I did, I made that adjustment, and I did a conceal all layer mask. So I held down the Option key, and I pressed this button to fill it with black. So now what I do, and again, you don't need to know all of this. I really wanted to show you the retouching thing, but I'm walking you through the steps just so you can see. I'm going to hit my B key for the brush tool, hit 0 to bring my opacity to the 100%. I'm going to make sure that I'm painting in and revealing with white. And then I'm going to paint in this little area. Whoop, too much. So I could maybe lower my opacity. No, that's too much right there. So maybe like that. Just a little bit. Again, just to not have it so dark. Okay, like that. So a teeny little adjustment. And then I'm going to collapse those two layers. So this layer, I'm going to bring it down here, and then I'm going to hit Command J again, and now I'm going to go back in to the Camera Raw Filter dialog box, and now I'm going to adjust the overall image. So I'm going to maybe hit saturation slider a little bit. That's too much. Again, you don't have as much control when you're working with the JPEG in this dialog box, but it could still kind of be good. And what a lot of times I'll do, so I can maybe bring the highlight down a little bit, so this area over here is in clipping. And then what I can do is hit this little radial filter and bring this guy over here and maybe just get the key component of this little wave. I'm going to reset it by clicking here and reset local correction. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the exposure a little bit. Maybe bring, let's see, bring the shadow down. And again, this is kind of playing a lot of times with it. You know, you got to see what works better. No, I don't want to do the clarity because it kind of makes it look not soft. And I think this is more of a soft kind of looking wave. It's a nice jello-y day. Maybe something like that. Let me see. I don't know. I mean, it gets tough too to do this, but I'm going to just click OK and get out of here and see what happens. So boom, boom. And now it brought more of the emphasis down here, as you see. I mean, I don't know if I love that, but again, I'm working with the JPEG. So maybe it looks a little too, like, not natural colors. So maybe I can lower the opacity a bit. Or what I can do is just make a layer mask and then paint it with black and just lessen that effect. Maybe hit a 50% opacity brush. See, now when I do that, it looks like bad. So maybe I do want that. And maybe I just want to bring some of this down. Let me see what it does when I do. You know, maybe I don't want all of it. Again, this is your creative control. I don't like how this is dark here. I mean, again, this is just your color grading and your color editing and what your flavor you want to throw on this guy. So it can be that, it can be that, whatever you want. I kind of like it looking a little bit more natural, maybe. But regardless, I really wanted to show you the cleanup. And again, from here to there in a matter of what? 5 minutes? And if I wanted to, just so you know, I can go ahead and collapse these layers and have the original one down here. And if I want, make a layer mask. So now I have the original layer. So anything I wanted to bring back, say I wanted to, you know, bring back one person or something. I'm like, oh, the beach looks too empty. It doesn't look natural. I can just go and paint, you know, one little couple. You know, obviously I did this little guy down here and that person over there. But you see what I mean. I can go ahead and, you know, still recover the original file. Maybe I want this to be a little less green. So I can go here. And do something like that. Maybe I just want to bring that guy down. Whoop. So, as I said, you can see the versatility you have when you're working this way. If you always isolate your moves on a separate layer, then you have a lot of different control. You have a lot of fine tuning. So I can go ahead and drop the opacity down. That's one way. Every time I make a move, you can go ahead and hit Shift Command F, I think it is. So if I go ahead and say I make a move and I do like a crazy saturation, which obviously that's way too much, but if I hit Shift Command F, it will bring me this fade dialog box. So now I can take that move and throttle it down, you know, maybe 9%, maybe even less. You know, obviously I don't want it to go more, but maybe you do want something. Maybe you just want, you know, a little area. But anyway, all I'm saying is every time you make a move, the more control you have of that move by isolating it on its own layer and having the ability to play with the opacity, and you just have all these little fine tunings, that's how you make your image less noticeably retouched. You know, you want to have less is more. You don't want to have big abrupt changes all over the place. Then it's totally noticeable that you'd made some kind of adjustment. So I hope this helps, guys. A little blip of a before and after. So again, before, after. I think it's pretty cool. You know, it makes it more of a sellable image. I wouldn't really want to offer this guy to print. It looks too busy and crowded and cluttered. And now this is clean, empty beach in Hawaii, pretty little wave, a little moment in paradise. So hope that works for you guys. And aloha. Please subscribe too. I'm trying to build this page. It really is not easy, but I am staying positive and it will happen. Aloha.